has faithfully served Second Baptist as its senior pastor for 37 years. What a legacy of love and leadership. Pastor and Mrs. Epps will be honored at a luncheon on Saturday, July 26, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Sheraton Universal Hotel in Universal City, and you're invited to attend. Noted scholar Dr. Michael Eric Dyson is the keynote speaker. For ticket information, please contact epsretirement@gmail.com or call 213-399-2103. That's epsretirement@gmail.com or call 213-399-2103. To Pastor Epps and First Lady Epps, congratulations from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
Swinging up my t-shirt, twisting my fingers, Impala off-white, ski mask all black, Adidas tracksuit, drawstring choking the Mac, got a couple bullets in it, gangsta sliding the rent it, jumping out the window, the world and everything in it. I'm a west side, ego tripping and walking fast, listening, so we talking in coast to keep them off us. Draco, toted, 36 shots down, Julio got me loaded, don't think I'm not gon' mob em. My figures, my tricks, don't get your punk cats killed on Instagram live. Mine ride, bury you alive, let the bullets live inside. Ain't nowhere to hide, it's survival of the fittest. Boy, you f***ing with the realest. Glock 9, blue steel, host a rap the chin chip. West side.
Welcome in to the West Side. You are locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. And in case you weren't aware, in case you didn't remember, in case you weren't sure, we are on the West Side, LA to be exact, Lamert Park to be real specific. And tonight, we are getting into the top rappers from Los Angeles. Not only are we getting into Complex lists, we're getting into the Games list. And we're going to talk about where he belongs on our list, because I'm not alone tonight, but I'll get into that too. And we're going to talk about what makes one an LA rapper, because there's a conversation attached to this that Complex kind of put an asterisk on after the fact. So we're going to get into all of that. We're also going to be talking a little bit about Michael B. Jordan and how he managed to run the fame game in his favor. And it is based off of some advice he said Denzel Washington gave to him. So we're going to get into that tea. And we're going to talk a little post-prison check-in with Todd Chrisley. You know, the former reality star was pardoned by President Donald Trump. And he has a message that he wanted to share about his time in prison and the realities of prison life that I think you might be interested in. But before we get into all of that, you know, I got to start the night with a couple of conversation starters, topics that are all up and down your timeline that you need to be aware of, but we're not going to get fully into the details yet. First up, have you been keeping track of the saga of the 11 inmates? I can't remember how many have been returned back to jail that escaped in the New Orleans prison, and now one is on Instagram tagging celebrities. His name is Antoine Massey, like Meek Mill and NBA Youngboy and Lil Wayne, and even President Trump asking for help about the conditions, with a kitchen very much visible in the background. These guys aren't smart. I don't know, right? I don't know any of the details. I know that it is something kind of heinous, I believe, that is attached to this particular individual that found him in prison. I do not know the details of what he is sharing as to whether or not that is the case. I just want to know why you think that while you're on the run and still free, live streaming is the best option for you. We got to get off social media a little bit. All right. We want to send condolences out to Rihanna and her family. Her father passed away last week at 70. And, you know, we love Riri. Obviously, she is pregnant with her third child right now. And she and A$AP Rocky have been loving life. So we want to send her warm and loving comfort and love and light, because Rihanna is, you know, important to the culture, and we want to make sure she knows that she is loved in these moments. And lastly, Mariah Carey, she is hinting that she might be dropping new music. Now, we know it is the 20th anniversary of the emancipation of Mimi, and she's dropped like a deluxe set of that for all the lambs. If you guys don't know, lambs are her fans. And she dropped a teaser with classic Mariah delivery, you know, dreamy stuff, a car, little bop, a little thing. So I wouldn't mind Mariah dropping a little bit of new music. It's not Christmas time. Somebody here isn't interested, but Mariah is a legend that continues to legend no matter what some may think. All right, so coming up, we have more trending topics and headlines. We're going to get into this Michael B. Jordan story and these top 10, 15, we'll see how far we go, rappers according to Complex and The Game. And with me tonight is Nick Hamilton of NiteCast Media. And he's going to get into all of this with us. You know he shares his opinion. All that and more on the other side. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Are you ready for the hottest entertainment scoop in Los Angeles? She's bringing you exclusive interviews with today's biggest stars, behind-the-scenes Hollywood insights, and all the entertainment news you need to know. She's breaking down what's trending, what's ending, and what's just beginning in the world of entertainment. You're riding with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. You ready?
Somebody make some noise in this joint.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates its 4th anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again.
Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast.
Oh my God.
But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say.
Let's do this.
Let's get it on! On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice Plus Black Health Symposium. Tavis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Tavis Smiley, talk about.
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There will be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there.
Yeah, man.
Flip the beat. On Saturday, June 21st, there are 2 big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is resilience in the face of chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique DePrima, with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA!
Love you.
It's been said that when someone you love has Parkinson's, you have Parkinson's.
The Parkinson's Foundation knows that the disease doesn't just affect the diagnosed. It affects everyone who supports and helps care for them.
If you have questions, the Parkinson's Foundation has answers.
We can help you understand the disease
and give you tips for living a better life.
Find your answers at parkinson.org or call 1-800-473-4636. The Parkinson's Foundation. Better lives. together.
As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up Oscar!
Now back to more entertainment news with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back in. You are locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. All right, you know how this goes down. If at any point you want to get in on this conversation, 800-920-1580. Those are the digits to call in, or catch us on social media, KBLA 1580. I'm at Stiletto Jill. Holla at me. We're also on YouTube. You know, the chat is always bustling and busy already. Shout out to the chat. They have commentary. Like Fahima, she mentioned when we were discussing the escaped New Orleans convicts that DJ Vlad set the tone for this chaos. He invited the escaped inmates to come on his platform. DJ Vlad is, to a degree, an agent of chaos. However, people willingly line up to be a part of that circus. So what can you say, right? But at any rate, get at us. Like I said, we're going to get into this spicy list about LA rappers, the criteria that Complex laid down after the fact, I think. But nonetheless, it is their criteria, their list. Game's clap back, as he has dubbed himself the Coast Guard, meaning he is guarding all representation of the West and, you know, taking up the crown or not, depending upon who you ask. And like I said, I'm not alone. Nick Hamilton of NiteCast Media is in the building to join me and tackle all of these topics. Welcome back, Nick. How are you?
You know, feeling good, feeling great. How are you?
Amazing. All right. Let's get into this list. So I'm going to start with Complex list, and I'm going to go from 20 down. Okay.
Let's do it.
So 20, they have Warren G. 19, Dom Kennedy. 18, Sugar Free.
Pause.
Yes.
Are you going to break down like their parameters?
Well,
or does that even matter?
I'm going to talk about it after I break down the list. So Warren G, Dom Kennedy, Sugar Free. 17 is Schoolboy Q. 16 is King T. 15 is YG. 14 is Exhibit. 13 is Corrupt. 12 is MC8. 11 is The Game. 10 is Nip. 9 is Eazy-E. 8 is Be Real. 7 Ice-T. 6 DJ Quick. 5 Tyler the Creator. 4 Dr. Dre. 3 Ice Cube. 2 Snoop Dogg. 1 Kendrick Lamar. Now, there's no Tupac anywhere on this list. They have Lady of Rage at number 41, just throwing that out there. Remember, I said that they have Corrupt at 13. Part of the reason why they said that they did not put Tupac on this list is because Pac was not born in LA. And when he was repping the West Coast, he moved to the Bay Area and then LA later. Perhaps, however, you included the Lady of Rage and Corrupt on this list, both of which were not born in Los Angeles. So why is it okay to exclude Tupac, but not, and I'm not saying that Corrupt or Lady of Rage should be excluded from this list. I am just saying how people shift and move the goalposts to do what they see as fit. So that's Complex's top 20. Nick, what say you really quick?
Well, first of all, when I saw that list, it sounded like a bunch of non-LA culturally clueless people that put that list together. Because as you mentioned, you can't say this. We said top LA rappers, right? So Rage is from Farmville, VA, by way of New York City, which got the ear of Dr. Dre when they were forming Death Row, right? So I can't really count Rage as an LAMC, right? Corrupt is kind of tricky because Corrupt came here when he was 15.
Right, and he went to high school
and he battled here. So it's that one's kind of a slippery slope. But I agree, Pac shouldn't be on.
But Pac, here's the thing. What's the difference? And I know there's a difference, but what's the difference between 15 and 18 or 19? Because that's how Pac was when he hit the Bay.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Pac is not an LA rapper. Pac is a Bay Area rapper.
Pac is a West Coast rapper.
Right, but we're talking, but this list is LA.
I understand.
But this list is an LA rapper.
But we just named 2 rappers.
Right, and that's why I said what I said, because Pac even said it. I got my game. I got everything I need. I was born in New York, did a stint in Baltimore, but I was raised by the hustlers in the Bay Area. So that's what he always claimed. Now, he had love for Los Angeles. He had love for the West Coast because he represented. But he's a Bay Area rapper. Now, if this was a West Coast list, that's a different story. But this is an L.A. list. Pac is not an L.A. rapper. He's a Bay Area rapper. That's it.
Look, I'm not mad at that. I am just asking. But that sidesteps the question about Rage.
Rage didn't belong on that list.
And
but I was saying Corrupt is more of a question, because Corrupt, even though he was born in Philly, he spent time in Philly for a portion of his life. But when he was 14, 15 or whatever, when he came out to L.A., Hawthorne to be exact, and then moved to L.A., he sharpened his skills out here. So that's more of a slippery slope than adding Tupac or the Lady of Rage. If we're talking strictly L.A. based or L.A. rappers, right? So this is what I'm saying. Like, you can't have it. I agree with you. You can't have it both ways. You can't keep moving the goalposts because you want to prove or push your narrative. If it's L.A. rappers, then that's exactly what it is. Then we're going to push L.A. rappers, period. Like you said, Dom Kennedy, Nip, YG.
So let me ask you a question, because similar to that, on Game's list, which we're going to get to, and this person isn't in the top 20, but he's on the list. There's also another individual on, I'm pretty sure it's on Complex list, but I'm not sure, but it's on Game's list for sure, and I'm not mad at it. What do you consider the DOC?
The DOC, well, he always claims Texas.
Right.
So I don't know if we can put DOC on LA rappers list if we're going to talk LA rappers. Just like Game had Tupac at number 1.
Right.
That's why I disagree with him, because we're talking LA rappers. And if you were around, like, in the thick of when Pac signed to Death Row, right, for those 10 or 11 months, however long he was on this earth, where he was signed to Death Row, yeah, like I always said, Pac had love for LA. He did a song, like you mentioned, To Live and Die in L.A.
Pac
but
spent
he's
a lot of time in L.A.
But he's a Bay Area. But
he's a
Bay Area rapper.
He was spending time in L.A.
Okay,
from at least
I can spend time
91.
in France. Don't make me French.
No one. Different set of circumstances. However, I'm just saying, like, Childish Gambino is on the Game's list, not in the top 20, but he's on the list. He was born on Edwards Air Force Base, but grew up in Georgia, right?
He's from Atlanta.
So what do you consider?
He's from Atlanta. He's an AT alien.
Better question.
Yeah.
Is Kobe from LA?
No. But Kobe represents LA because it was the team that drafted him. Magic Johnson is absolutely not from LA, but Magic Johnson and now Kobe, right, are the faces of the Laker franchise as far as you think about, over the last over the last 4 or 5 decades. Yeah.
Can I ask this question? Because
Sure.
I think there's some context or some clarity, I should say, that has to happen. And I think based upon how we rating these LA rappers, right? Are we basing them upon skill set? Are we basing them upon lyricism? Are we basing upon sales?
All of it, cultural.
Albums?
I mean, they don't really say, it's all of the things.
And the reason why I asked that question, because then there's different lists, right? Like if we're talking some MC lyrical stuff, then Crooked Eye and AC guys,
alone.
Right? Guys that are like the Liquid Crew, like the Alcoholics.
Yeah,
Tash,
he has. I mean, they have. They have Fat Lip on here.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Who else? Who else can I say that's like like Technique? You know what I mean? Like Crooked Eye on the Complex is like 48, which was real disrespectful, by the way. But are we talking MCs? Are we talking some lyrical stuff? Are we talking like that's why I asked in what categories are we listing this, because it's different conversations for these lists based upon what are we judging them on. That's what I'm saying. So that's why I asked that question.
Andy?
Looking at Complex's list and looking at the game's list, to me, it's all impact at the end of the day.
Okay.
And accomplishments.
So Doja Cat is on both lists. I love that because Doja is lyrical miracle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That first single was Boo Boo Juice.
What first single?
That Move single, that was Boo Boo Juice.
You talking about what got her started, the viral single?
Yeah,
that was a joke. It wasn't. It was clever. It was creative.
That almost turned me off until I heard some other stuff.
That's what sent her to the moon and caused people to pay attention to everything. And I actually loved it, being that I'm a Taurus, because Mitch, I'm a cow. You know, moo. Anyway, but. I mean, I think you're taking it too seriously. She was making it as a joke.
I'm just saying, whether it was a joke or not, it was a waste of studio time. But anyway, go ahead.
I don't see how you can say that when it directly led to her deal and everything else that came after that.
Because it was a simpler time. So, I mean, it wasn't in a time where we were actually looking at real artistry. It wasn't. It was in a different time. It was not in the 90s. It was not in the early 2000s.
So are you trying to say Doja's not a real artist?
No, I'm not saying she's not. I'm saying she's not a real lyricist. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying she's not a real artist. I said there's a difference between being an artist and being a lyricist. A la Razzcast, a la Crooked Eye, a la Technique, so many others that are out there that are MCs.
Let me ask you a question.
There's a difference between a rapper and an MC.
Do you believe that any of those three individuals that you just named could drop a single today and it be a hit?
That's different. Again, there's a difference between a rapper and an MC.
Right, but
that's
impact, like you cannot completely strip impact out of
they have impact
they have
impact in hip hop, but if you're talking about mainstream impact, that's a different conversation. If you're talking about hip hop impact, then yes. But if you're talking mainstream 9-10 spins a day type rotation, that's a different conversation. No. But if you're talking hip hop, if you're talking, the backpackers and the MCs, yes.
Backpackers and MCs haven't been the main flow.
Where do you think Exhibit came from? Where do you think Raz came from?
Exactly. 20 years
ago.
No,
that wasn't your question. Your question was, could they have impact?
Today.
So my question is, it depends on the art, the crowd that you're appealing to. Is it an MC crowd, hip hop crowd,
impact
or is it a mainstream?
At this point is impact.
And it's not.
It does. It is.
It's a difference. It's all been blended together because of the corporations and how music has been watered down.
It has been blended together because of audiences have much more access and can spread things.
It's different.
Are they going to drop something that could go TikTok viral?
It depends.
Based off of both of those lists, we're not talking about the hip hop 8 Mile crowd.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. There's a different connotation. There's a different conversation about what type of impact.
The conversation you want to have and the type of impact you're talking about hasn't been relevant in a very long time.
It's been relevant. It just hasn't been mainstream.
Where?
It hasn't been mainstream.
Where?
You go to hip hop shows all the time. You see that stuff.
I'm not saying, but
so why are we acting like that don't exist no more?
Impact? It's not that. It's not that. What I'm saying is, here's the thing. There might be 27 of those. At least one of them is going to garner enough something to make a hit. They haven't.
But I'm saying a hit is, as it pertains to mainstream, no. But what I'm saying is,
my point is a hit. It does, but a hit is a hit and will pierce.
A hit is
through.
a hit, but it's also the audience that you portray it to. Because there's different audiences that will rock with music that won't rock with mainstream.
We know
there's
that.
Okay, and there's vice versa.
There's also songs that pierce across all fields.
Certain ones, yes.
How many people were talking about Glorilla when certain singles dropped? No matter if they were little backpack. Hey, that little beat was. But this is my point. A hit is a hit.
But how did she get to that point?
A backpacker can hit the road.
But how did she get to that point? Using your Doja Cat analogy, how did she get to that point? She had to have an audience, right? She had to have cachet, right?
She found an audience and cachet
but she had to have
because
cachet,
she had something catchy
so
and
why is it different? So why is it later on? She didn't have no hit off the rip.
She had something that went viral that caught everyone's attention and got them talking. No, the song that you didn't personally like, it doesn't matter if you personally liked it. When we come forward, we're going to get more into this topic. We're going to talk Michael B. Jordan. And, Nick is going to try and fight his way out of this. He can't, but he'll try. All of that and more on the other side. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. News, traffic, and sports is up next.
I'm not in the mood, tryna make moves, too smooth. I'm not in the mood, tryna make moves, got milk, got beef, got steak, got cheese.
You're in the know with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The first black mayor of Tulsa, Oklahoma is proposing a reparations plan for descendants of the 1921 race massacre. Mayor Monroe Nichols wants a private trust to fund housing and scholarships, no direct cash.
The Greenwood Trust will raise and facilitate the investment of $105 million in private funds along our road to repair, restoration, and right.
The City Council must approve any asset transfers. Washington, D.C. has unveiled Mamie Peanut Johnson Plaza, honoring one of just 3 women to play in the Negro Leagues. The 5'3" pitcher had a 33-8 record in the 1950s. Johnson, who died in 2017, is now memorialized in the city she called home. And Wall Street opens higher today after a strong Monday start to June. Investors shrugged off trade tensions and steel stocks soared after President Trump announced 50% tariffs. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Porter Ranch, a wreck is out of lanes 118 westbound past Balboa, and traffic is a mess away from the 5 Hawthorne. A stall for the 105 eastbound at Hawthorne Boulevard. It's been blocking the right lane, and the drive has been slow out of El Segundo getting away from Sepulveda Boulevard. Very tough on that 210. We're going to start in Pasadena. This is eastbound getting away from Lake. Heavy and slow ahead to Azusa. The 15 in the Cajon Pass slows down northbound at the 215 merge to the 138.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Former LA Sparks star Candace Parker has a book on the market. It's called The Can-Do Mindset. The book deals with Parker's legendary basketball career from high school in Chicago to college at Tennessee and her 16 seasons in the WNBA, as well as the triumphs and challenges in her personal life. Parker, now 38, is on track to having a very successful career in broadcasting after retiring from the WNBA in 2024. Parker played 13 of her 16 WNBA seasons with the Sparks. She led the Sparks to the WNBA championship in 2016. She also has won titles with the Chicago Sky and Las Vegas Aces, making her the only player to win a WNBA championship with 3 different teams. The Can-Do Mindset should be a good read about a player many people put in the GOAT conversation as the greatest women's basketball player in the game's history. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 congratulates Pastor and Mrs. William Sachs Epps on their retirement from stewardship at the historic Second Baptist Church. Dr. Epps has faithfully served Second Baptist as its senior pastor for 37 years. What a legacy of love and leadership. Pastor and Mrs. Epps will be honored at a luncheon on Saturday, July 26, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Sheraton Universal Hotel in Universal City, and you're invited to attend. Noted scholar Dr. Michael Eric Dyson is the keynote speaker. For ticket information, please contact epsretirement@gmail.com or call 213-399-2103. That's epsretirement@gmail.com or call 213-399-2103. To Pastor Epps and First Lady Epps, congratulations from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm LA City Councilman Kern Price, inviting you to join us on Saturday, June the 14th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. as we cut the ribbon on the brand new Enel Woods Park at 8703 South McKinley Avenue. Thanks to a generous donation from Heal the Bay, the park features smart irrigation, stormwater capture systems, and space for local wildlife to thrive. And we've built a walking trail, picnic areas, native landscaping, and quiet spaces for families to gather, relax, and connect. This is part of a much larger effort to expand green spaces across South LA with 3 new parks in the works, a first-of-its-kind community center coming soon, and plans to connect it all through the South LA Greenway. So mark your calendar for Saturday, June 14th, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., and come celebrate a greener, stronger South LA at Enel Woods Park. I'm also pleased to sponsor the Climate Justice plus Black Health Symposium, moderated by Tavis Smiley, live on C-SPAN, Wednesday, June the 18th, from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center. Just a reminder to sign up right away at the KBLA1580.com website to join me, Mayor Karen Bass, Congresswoman Sidney Kamlager Dove, Tennessee State Representative Justin Pearson, Dr. Cornel West, former Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr., the Sierra Club's Ben Jealous, and other black influencers in the climate and health fields as we continue to amplify the connection between climate and poor health outcomes for our people. Thank you for listening. I'm Councilman Kern Price.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Put my right hand to God, shine on these bras, stay on my job, grind with my squad, 100 racks on my car, no license at all, no 10 on that thing, cause that's how we ball. All these is flawed, suckers and frauds, my circle so small, stick to my script and just ball. First I pick up my and we shut down the mall, had to pick up the tip, she tried to pay for it all, bring some yak with my plate, garlic noodles and steak, bouncing out the ballet, with all these tats on my face, people looking like, hey, black, stay in your place, but it's some they gon' think, and it's some they gon' say, got to a brick.
Welcome back in. You were locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. We are talking the top LA rappers, who and what qualifies them to be labeled as such. This is Andy's number one right here. I'm not mad if you select Nipsey Hussle as your number one.
Not at all.
Perfectly acceptable choice.
I got my number one.
Who's your number one, Nick?
Ice Cube.
Okay. I'm not mad at that. I understand that. Ice Cube went solo. He did a lot of the pen work in NWA. He worked with East Coast producers for that first album, so it still was very much an LA flavored album, but with East Coast swing to it. So it kind of sounded new.
Yeah,
he broke through.
You had Sir Jinx. You had DJ Pooh.
Shout out to Sir Jinx. Sir Jinx used to make my mixtapes for me back in the day.
Sir Jinx is underrated. He's an underrated producer. Like, that dude is so dope and creative. Same thing with we'll talk about that. I know you said we'll talk about that later. Producers.
About what? Oh, producers, yeah. We'll get into that because Nick has his list of top LA producers he feels should be mentioned because he feels that some on the list of these rappers don't belong because they're not really rappers. So, that's another conversation. Let me give you Game's top 20 really quickly. 20 Schoolboy Q, 19 King T, 18 MC8, 17 Ren, 16 Dom Kennedy, 15 YG, 14 Tyler the Creator, 13 Be Real, 12 Ice-T, 11 Nip, 10 Exhibit, 9 Eazy-E, 8 Dr. Dre, 7 DJ Quick, 6 Corrupt. He has him at 5, Kendrick at 4, Cube at 3, Snoop at 2, and Pocket number 1.
Where's Absol? Where's J-Rock?
Absol is 27. They're on the list. They're just not in his top 20.
Okay.
J-Rock is 25.
That's a Grammy Award-winning artist, J-Rock, by the way.
Sugar Free is 22. Warren G is 21.
And see, that's what we were talking on the break. Some of these guys that he mentioned aren't rappers. They're producers that happen to rap, right? Like Warren G, as dope as he is, he's a producer, right? That's happened to rap. Dr. Dre, we all know how great Dr. Dre is as a producer. He just happens to rap. I can't put those guys on that list as far as that because of what I just said. Not discrediting them, just saying we talking LA rappers. Let's talk LA rappers. Let's talk rap. Shout out to Gina Views. Well, I want rap. Like she's talking like how she said I can't do how she do it because she do it so dope. But we talking about rappers.
Well, Andy, what do you think?
2 questions. Number 1, in both lists in the top 20, we had an artist that nobody really talks about. He's highly regarded.
Who?
Tyler the Creator.
Yes.
Nobody really talks. I mean, they talk about him, but they don't talk about him in lists like this. Like his name doesn't. There's no debate about him.
I think because Tyler's audience is almost alternative in a sense. I think Tyler's hip hop. I love Tyler. He's not to be a pun. He's creative. Right? I love the way that he flips entendres. I love the elements that he puts in it. I love his visuals. But not everyone can connect with that. There are, the kind of uncomfortable nature also of the way that he plays around, with sexuality. So that might make some uncomfortable. And he's respected, obviously, but I think he's someone that, as far as you talk mainstream, as far as hip hop mainstream, even though I feel like Tyler's had pop moments and big moments, he's someone that kind of gets overlooked. Like if you know, and you respect him, but people don't jump on board with him in the way that they probably should, I think, because of those reasons that I mentioned.
And I think Will.I.am is kind of in the same situation because people don't look, when we talk about Will.I.am, most people don't see that he's really from L.A., right? And they
East L.A. But you know why I think the thing with Will.I.am is?
But I think it's, according to what you're saying about Tyler, I think it's kind of similarities.
It is, but that's why I made sure to say East LA. And that's no shade. No, it's no shade. I'm not shading with that. I'm just pointing out that even though like different pockets of the city bring out different aspects of the culture. Let's not act like that's not true. It is, right? Yeah. And so being that he's from East LA, his view and perspective about some things involving black culture is slightly different and heavily Latino influenced. And I think for some, that is another cause for them to overlook him or think, oh, he's pop. He's this.
The thing about it is Will.I.am is street urban culture, right? Because of where he came from, right? It's still street urban culture. Like hip hop is street urban culture.
Facts. I'm not disagreeing.
No, I'm
with
just
you.
saying. I'm just
Yeah.
adding to it. I'm like
Okay.
that's what, and I think people don't understand that. Like quite a few people don't understand. Just because, like you said, what you eloquently stated as far as his background and how he grew up and how he musically saw things, just because it may not tap into the exact situation doesn't mean that he doesn't still have a significance to West Coast culture, to LA culture. And I think when you talk about Tyler, the Creator, when you talk about Will.i.am, that's why they get overlooked, which is really unfortunate because Tyler had a great last album. Like his album is phenomenal.
I mean, and he's nominated for he gets the things. But I think he's in that weird kind of space as far as hip hop goes because of the whole masculinity and, homophobia and all of these things that kind of surround what comes with him. I think that people, they respect him, but they're, some of people don't want to get too close.
I think it's alternative. I think it's more so the alternative aspect. Yeah. And I think just like Ab-Soul. Like Ab-Soul doesn't get the credit that he normally gets.
But I think Ab-Soul is different from what's happening with Tyler. I think those are two different things.
No, what I'm saying as far as the mainstream aspect, right? Because people don't realize like Ab has contributed to Kendrick. And the thing about it is because that gets overlooked because Ab is in this particular area, right? Like Kendrick, we know where Kendrick is, right? Even above, we say Schoolboy Q, who's been Grammy nominated, even though J-Rock has won a Grammy. Those guys don't get the same respect or mentions that Kendrick gets, even though they came from the same family, the same class. And I think they get overlooked, just like we overlooked Tyler for different reasons. We overlooked Will for different reasons. I think they get overlooked for different reasons, maybe because they may not seem as mainstream or as popular as we say other people are. So
and this isn't shade, they aren't. And that's not a shade or a thing. They just didn't connect in the ways that, right, fruit of the same tree. But Kendrick, not saying that they aren't stars, but Kendrick is the brightest star.
He's a megastar
of that bunch. So they are still stars, but everybody is not going to be a supernova. Andy?
Real quick, since we're talking LA rappers, we have a lot of pride within the county, right? Mm-hmm. So we have Compton represented. We have Long Beach represented. Does that matter in this case?
No, I think it is an LA. I don't think we don't have we kind of would, but if we're starting to split it into that, we're going to get a lot of trash in the mix.
Yeah.
Just being honest.
Thank you, Jill. That part. Yes.
When we come forward, we're going to get more into this topic. We're going to talk Michael B. Jordan and what Todd Chrisley had to say. All that and more on the other side. You're locked in with Jill Munroe.
Your ride with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
JP Morgan Chase offers tips for the local business owners in 2025. Small business landscape is ever changing, and the Los Angeles market is no exception. A startup or legacy business, revisiting your mission statement and recalibrating offerings can renew opportunities for growth and innovations. Programs like Chase for Business Coaching for Impact gives entrepreneurs access to expert guidance, helping you streamline operations, strategize your growth, and navigate complex challenges. Businesses with a clear sense of purpose can navigate any challenge effectively, but also build stronger customer loyalty. Visit chase.com/coaching for impact for more information. This segment is sponsored by JP Morgan Chase.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s. 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text EQUAL to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text EQUAL to 321-321. That's EQUAL to 321-321.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach? Transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal? Prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back in. You are locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. All right, we're going to take a small hiatus from discussing all of this LA rappers and who makes the list, who doesn't, where they should go. Really quick, we're going to get into Michael B. Jordan. Now, we know that he's hot off the box office success of Sinners. I think it's currently at 350 million global. Crazy numbers, right? But know that Michael said that building his brand didn't happen by accident. In a New York Magazine cover story, he revealed that he has been intentional about staying off of social media and limiting interviews to create a demand for himself. I can personally tell you that he limits interviews. See my interview with him during Sinners. There isn't one. Spoiler alert.
Hey, low key, I thought you really did get one. Because if anybody could get one,
kind of, not really, kind of. But shout out to Wume and the rest of the cast because I talked to all of them. But he said that the decision stems from a blunt piece of advice he got from Denzel. And Denzel said, "Why would they pay to see you on a weekend when they can see you all week for free?" And he said that the warning about overexposure stuck with him and that he has, because of that, carefully curated and shaped his public image, which I wholeheartedly believe to be true. So what are your thoughts about cultivated images and being selectively revealing as far as social media?
I think that's wise. I think that's why he's mostly stayed out of trouble. I think Denzel gave him some wisdom, and he was smart enough to
listen and take it in,
to digest it, and then execute it. And that's why we are talking about Michael B. Jordan now. No scandal. I mean, I think there was that little car situation, but that kind of just blew over.
I mean, here's the thing.
But
he's
just never been in trouble.
Nobody is trying to get to him to talk about what happened. Like, well, what was going on with you and Cassie, Michael B. Jordan? Right. What happened with
Lori Harvey? Like, what happened? Like, nobody's saying any of that because he's selective and he has to be to protect himself and not only that, his future.
Yeah. So shout out to Michael B. Jordan for that.
Yeah.
Andy?
Smart man.
Do you think him checking the old girl on the red carpet was kind of like the beginning of all that?
No, I think it was long before that. He has not been really active on social media long before that happened. That just showed to me he's human and everybody gets their little feelings hurt. Not like that. I don't mean that as disrespectful as that may have come off, but just that, even the people that you think wouldn't be tripping off of stuff sometimes are bothered by it and may take a moment to be like, and now what? And what was said? Right? He definitely let a little bit of his petty flag fly in that moment. I was actually shocked about that because he's usually so buttoned and pulled together.
Bravo to him.
Andy?
He probably was feeling old girl back in the day.
I think so for sure.
and
L'Oreal was, one of them ones.
And I was proud of him for that.
Were
Good
you
job.
really?
Yes.
You
Good
were
job.
team get your revenge on the one that wronged you?
Look here. Swish, don't miss.
Oh, my God.
Hello.
I'm not going to say what I think.
What you think?
Y'all supposed to let that stuff go and just elevate.
We did. Once we get back, get our get back.
Please.
Hey,
why do you need that get back?
Listen,
why do you need to do that?
I'm on that Daz Dillinger, retaliation, revenge, and get back.
My God. All right.
West Coast.
Let's get into Todd Chrisley. Now, we know that Donald Trump has recently pardoned him. And when he was released, he chose to take his time to speak out about how different and wrong jail conditions are for black men. Let's hear a little bit about what he had to say.
This is a long shot because so many people are told no. And being in the prison system, anyone that says that it's a fair shake, it's not. Because I dealt with young African American males in the prison that I was in that were not treated the same. They were denied programming. They were denied access to certain things. I was not denied that, but we know why I wasn't denied that. And so I think that is a much bigger picture that we all as a society as a whole need to look at, that we are one. And whether you're Republican, Democrat, or whatever, at the end of the day, when you're in that hospital, you don't care if it's a Democrat treating you or a Republican. Now, some of you may, but I want whoever's going to be the best.
So basically, he was serving a 12-year sentence for bank and tax fraud. Mm-hmm. He's still maintaining his innocence in regards to that. But do you view this as allyship? Do you think he is centering himself and using performative, speaking points to take a certain position? Or do you believe, because I will say this, I've caught on occasion the reality show that they used to have, and he does have a black granddaughter that he did not play about, that they had custody of. He really loved her. So I'm inclined to believe that it is something he really cared about, but we also know how things go in this current environment. So considering who pardoned him and other things that are happening, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't think that matters. I think what he's speaking about carries more weight and speaks volumes, because he didn't have to say anything. He could have easily just kept that to himself amongst his family or what have you. I'm glad he spoke out against it. Even whether you think it's genuine or not, nobody really gives a damn. And I don't think those prisoners in there that he spent time with give a damn about that either. They're probably glad that he's speaking up and raising awareness about this issue, because oftentimes if somebody that doesn't look like us doesn't stamp it, most people don't want to believe it. So I'm glad people like him have come out and spoken on the topics and the things that need to be spoken on, period.
All right. Shout out to that. Well, really quick, Andy. Oh, no. Okay. Really quick. I got a couple of rapid fire questions for you. Mm-hmm. Now, we talked briefly about Pusha T and the fact that the Clips have a new album dropping. It was supposed to be on Def Jam, but Def Jam allegedly felt it was too much heat around a track that featured Kendrick Lamar, and they wanted them to take it off because they felt like Drake's two enemies were teaming up in the middle of a lawsuit, and that wasn't good for business. So they got off of the label. They're now under Roc Nation. The album's dropping July 11th. What are your thoughts on all of that?
Hey, props to Pusha T and Malice for standing their ground. They stood 10 toes down. You know how hard it was for them to get that Kendrick verse? They ain't letting that go. Look here, man. They holding on to it like a fat man at a rib shack.
Facts. Okay, and the Knicks fired Tom Thibodeau. What is this trend of coaches being fired after taking their team on a, relatively speaking, successful playoff run?
Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. If you ain't winning the chip, it don't matter.
These turnovers are happening really quickly now. Thibodeau's only been there, 5 years?
Well, he ain't got a chip.
Do you think it was his lack of substitution pattern in the Eastern Conference Finals?
I think it was just a history of, like, they looked at his overall track record, and they looked at, I think, just what he wasn't able to accomplish. And I think they were like, hey, you blew a 14-point lead in the game one, and even though he ain't out here playing, he's still coaching. So, hey, you got to go. Okay. New Yorkers don't play that.
And last little quick hit for you, Nick Hamilton, and then you got to tell the people where they can find you. What do you think of Zion Williamson, and this lawsuit? And Moriah Mills, of course, was awakened when she heard the dollars out there and is threatening her own lawsuit that even Tony Busby isn't interested in touching. Yeah. Check that, T.
I think he's guilty of being stupid and making bad decisions. I don't know if he's guilty of sexual assault. I don't want to, say that she's lying or anything, because we don't know all the facts. But he is definitely guilty of being dumb and stupid. And hopefully he learns a lesson from all of this moving forward. Maybe he should be more at the beignet table than being at the saloon or salon.
I mean,
in
but
New Orleans.
Aunt Edwards, Zion,
just dumb.
Tyreek Hill.
Dumb.
Listen, I don't know why the Nick Hamilton not Nick Hamilton.
Wow. That's how you feel today?
Nick Cannon. But
I got one son. That's it.
I'm not talking about you. I'm sorry. I was saying Nick Cannon. Nick Hamilton, tell the people where they can find you.
Well, you damn sure ain't going to find me down at the courthouse because ain't nobody got nothing for me.
I'm just talking about Nick Cannon.
But you can find me on, Twitter at Nick Hamilton 213, on Instagram at the NH Experience, and you can find me, subscribe to me on YouTube at youtube.com/@ NiteCast Media TV. Thank you, Jill. OKC in 5.
Well, boom, there it is. You think the ratings are going to be there? Quick.
Nope.
All right, y'all. Thanks for locking in with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Remember, we're back here every Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Up next is Zoe Williams. I'll get at you tomorrow.
Pushing dope for the man, a terrible blow, but that's how it goes. Freddy's on the corner now. If you wanna be a junkie, wow. Remember, Freddy's dead. We're all built up with progress, but sometimes I must confess we can deal with rockets and dreams, but reality